Well, we don't ever say what day of the week it is, or we try not to in these videos, but today happens to be a Monday.
It does. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday and happy prior weekend. One of the things that came up over the weekend was a junior copywriter who came to me and he was trying to figure out an angle for his client. And this client is in what we used to call EMEA, which stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Okay.
And we're trying to like walk through this customer. You know how some companies, they think that if you throw every possible thing at a prospect, then you might hit on something. So we do this and we do that, and we're experts in this and we're experts in that, and we have loads of experience in this, and like it's just like everything, just like throw it and see what sticks.
Yes.
And that doesn't work, right?
No.
As anyone, there's a well-known copywriting term where the confused buyer does nothing.
And it's common for everybody because they kind of generally think that's what marketing's all about.
Yeah,
Like, I got to attract everybody, but that's totally not true.
it's also impossible,
It's also impossible.
and you will end up like
So, yes.
attracting fewer people. A, because it's confusing what you're good at and specialize in,
Mhm.
and B, nobody thinks that someone who does everything is good at everything or even at anything. So we named this one Better, Cheaper, Faster. And Better, Cheaper, Faster has been around forever as well, right? I remember from the earliest days when I was a software developer and then project manager, it was, better, faster, cheaper, pick any two. You can't ever have all three. It's very rare, but you can focus on two and deliver two.
Mhm.
And what I'm walking through with this copywriter is how he is going to rewrite the client's approach to the client's prospects to focus on any two of those to sell. Now, normally, of course, cheaper only makes sense if you're delivering something at scale. If you're only ever going to have 100 customers for your business in any given year, cheaper may not be the way for you to go because you have a cap. This especially true for any sort of professional service business where, like, to put it bluntly and plainly and uncharitably, you're trading time for money, right? You were writing reports, you're redoing websites, you're whatever. Like you have to devote actual time to that client, and the time you devote to that client cannot also be sold to another client at
Right.
the same time. Once that hour of time is gone, it is gone forever. So cheaper is probably not the way to go for professional service businesses. So then you're stuck with faster and better. This customer, his client, that client's customers, it's not a scale business. Like they're sort of geographically limited, so they are only able to service X number of clients per year, which means that he needs to focus on how his customer does something better and faster. And you can get by with just one of these, by the way. There's nothing wrong with
For sure.
really focusing on, right? I mean, cheaper at scale, that's Walmart or Amazon.
Right. It's not for the average person.
No, and faster is everything from FedEx to whatever. I was trying to think of a professional service business where faster is better. I mean, I sell faster and better, but not cheaper. But I'm trying to think of an example that's not me. I mean, there's a lot of things where faster doesn't make sense either. Right? Like you wouldn't want, oh, we have the fastest massage.
Yeah,
Right?
no.
Right,
Not something you want.
the fastest weight training, only 4 minutes, and any of that kind of stuff. And so it's very, for professional, for a mass scale business and pizza delivery, no one guarantees delivery time anymore. But for liability issues. But again, for a personal service kind of business, faster is probably, unless you're talking about sort of a delivery, not a pizza. But we'll go get your groceries faster. We'll handle all this stuff, or faster in that faster if you think of it simply as not faster but time, and
Right.
have a time advantage. Like get X number of hours out of your calendar per week by offloading that to someone else. So if you think faster as time, then you have more latitude, certainly in a personal service business. And
Yeah,
then
no.
better, of course,
Yeah.
better Better's tricky. A, because it's usually a subjective measure. And B, and I run into this all the time when I'm trying to help customers. Like we work through the first part of a project, which is positioning and where they're going to live in a prospect's mind. And better without an angle, better without a reason you're different and better. Better is basically useless because literally everyone will say it. And
Mhm.
people will say, well, I mean, I've literally had clients, I think I used literally twice in the same sentence there. That's terrible. I would never do that when I'm writing. I had someone once, we're working through their positioning and we're trying to come up with like, what's your angle? I'm trying to push them, like, what actually is different? Because almost every business has something that's like a little different, right? That
Mhm.
makes them stand out a bit. And he says, Dean, I'm going to tell you the difference because they were a big software integrator for Salesforce, I think, salesforce.com. They're a big integrator for that. And yeah, or I should say, they're a relatively new company, but their goal was to be a big. And he says, "I'll tell you what's different from about us compared to all of our competitors. We go into every one of these client arrangements, and we treat our client like they're our partner." And I said, "That's literally, there's literally again, what every freaking other person and company says."
Most of them
How is
do
it
it though.
different? He says, "But they don't mean it, and we do." I say, "It
Yeah,
does not matter. You
right.
can't say, here are the two things you can't say if you're trying to establish a position. You can't say things that the customer won't believe,
Mm,
and you can't say anything that anyone else says, even if they're lying and you're the only one telling the truth. It doesn't matter because there's an information asymmetry problem there where the prospect knows far less about what you do than you. And so they group you with everyone else who says the same thing. And if everyone else and you are in the same bucket, you have not defined a position for yourself. So you have to say something that they not only can't say, but wouldn't say. And that's where all of the brain power and mental horsepower of that part of a project comes in, is figuring out how to say something in a way that competitors would not touch. And I think there's an example earlier about Domino's and pizza delivery and stuff. And that was when it started. I think Domino's was the very first one to guarantee, like they'd map out a delivery area and guarantee, because most of their little competitors, they had their eyes on, we're going to have thousands of locations and this is going to be one of our angles. I mean, Domino's never competed on fantastic tasting pizza. They had a
right.
whole campaign on advertising campaign years ago about how, yeah, we understand it tastes like cardboard. Like they literally said that, but we're going to make it better, right? But and of course, that was not all that long after they dropped the 30-minute delivery promise. But
Right.
they delivered something that their competitors wouldn't touch. Your little mom and pop store wouldn't touch a 30-minute delivery guarantee.
No.
So that was an angle that worked for them for a very long time, and they got to be very big doing that.
Now they give you $3 back
Now they give you $3 back because they don't want to deliver to you. They want,
because they don't want to
plus they're
deliver.
probably having trouble finding delivery drivers. Like everybody's having trouble finding, workers.
And it's
So better
interesting.
is fine, but you have to be able to articulate it as an angle, which is to say something that your competitors cannot say and would not say, because
Right.
otherwise they're going to copy you, and then you're just in the same bucket as the rest of them, and you haven't distinguished yourself.
That's very true. So I'll tell you a funny story. So
Yes,
I
please.
had a friend of mine who hired a contractor recently to redo his bathroom. And he said all these guys came in and they all, oh yeah, they all had sample pictures and they all had this, they all had that. One particular guy actually came in and bragged about how his company was so successful. He had his own private plane and all these other things.
Right.
What is it? That has nothing to do with doing a bathroom, right? And so at the end of the day, he said, they're all the same. All I had to go by is the price. So I went with the cheapest one.
Yeah. Or some people will go a little bit smarter and they'll hire the second cheapest one.
Yeah, but even
Yeah.
then, it's kind of, is that what do you really get? What do you really gain? And they all have the same qualifications. They all really know how to build, or do this remodel.
Yeah.
Um, why would you do anything else? So it's like nobody really distinguishes themselves, and that then becomes the issue when all there is in the absence of value, all you have is price.
Yep. In the absence of effectively communicated angle, All you have is price. And not only that, any company or person who like brags about how much profit they're making makes you think, well, it's people like me that you're getting that money from. And I'm not in the funding other people's private planes business.
Right. No. And that reminds me of my favorite saying, price is only an issue in the absence of value.
Yeah. Dr. V, you've been super quiet.
I know. I'm trying out something different, which is
Yeah.
just
Listening.
shut up for a while and listen. So, yeah. So I think though, you could differentiate yourself with the private plane, which is, one free plane visit with every job. Something where you actually use
Well,
that to
I mean,
benefit the
if
customer.
that company came to me and say, hey, like we're actually at this point, maybe we shouldn't have been, but we've been sort of, boasting about, and the marketplace knows or can Google easily, but the private plane thing. And so it's almost becoming a liability for us. Is there anything you can do around that? Now, of course, the number one lesson in marketing is all weaknesses are strengths if you can reframe them.
Of course.
So I would have told them, and I've never heard of this company before, I would have told them to play it up and double down on it and say, the way that we get there is that we guarantee the results. And once in a while, we have to pay for an entire remodel. Because that's just, you do enough work with enough clients, something is eventually going to happen. And the important thing is that you make that person whole again. And it's that kind of attitude and commitment that lets us, deal with, have the whole private plane thing.
And we can get there quickly, even if we have to use our private plane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you need a private plane to fly around to like a contractor's.
If it's a local job.
So
It's a private plane.
fly,
It's not like a Gulfstream. It's a little Cessna or something.
no, you fly them in, you parachute them in. It's like special forces for contractors.
We're going to
Exactly.
land right in your front yard.
It could make a great commercial, actually.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
That would be a differentiating factor. I mean, use it to your benefit as opposed to, hey, look at me. I'm so wealthy from,
Right.
From you paying us exorbitant fees. But I mean, this whole concept of competing on price is horrific. I mean, I do remember being in practice where I was the most expensive chiropractor in town. And I did extremely well because, the people who were the price shoppers were not my people.
Right.
No.
And there's always someone has to be the most expensive.
Right.
And it didn't really.
That's as valid a marketing position as any other.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't put a target on me because there were plenty of people who were on the race to the bottom on price. So.
Right. There's no reason to be on the race to the bottom on price.
No, you might win.
That would be,
and then you lose.
Or even worse, you come in second. Then you're not even the cheapest.
I know.
You just have the razor thin margins and no claim to fame.
Razor thin chiropractic.
This
sounds threatening.
Exactly, right? So working with I can't call him a client. Like working with this copywriter.
Yeah.
On behalf of their client, right? Although this client's never going to know I exist. And we ended up on Better Cheaper with an angle. I can't tell you what the angle is because I'm
you give it away.
Ghost.
It's obtuse.
Well, it's not just that. Like this person, this copywriter's client has no need to know that I even exist. Yeah. And I doubt that this person's client would ever see this video, but just in case. We worked through how to do an angle around Better that would distinguish them and still leave them with enough prospects that they could chase after it. But again, faster didn't really apply to this person's business, and cheaper is not the way to go because they don't have scale.
So, better to go deeper than cheaper.
Yeah. And honestly, you're always better off from a marketing point of view and initial prospecting point of view of being different and being able to articulate that you're different in a valuable way than ever saying that you're faster or cheaper. In fact, the only reason to ever say that you're faster or cheaper is if it feeds into your story and your position about, why your angle is better, why you're the better approach for any of your clients. The problem is it's the hardest one to do.
Mhm.
I don't mean better as in better quality, but like figuring out an angle that sets you apart in your marketplace. And again, you don't have to be the only one in the world. You have to be the only one that that client's likely to interact with.
Well,
Encounter.
if you had an ambulance service, faster is definitely better.
Sure,
Fast is
absolutely.
important with that, yes. Super important.
I don't know about cheaper. I think that in that case you'll pay for speed. That's why those air ambulance things as a
Yeah,
benefit in insurance, are so popular because they're thinking, oh, if
but
I'm in a really bad situation, I definitely want
You
faster
could
and better.
definitely
I
double
don't
down
even
on
know how
faster.
advertising companies they sell to hospitals, right?
No,
So
John has something where they, an association where if you're injured when you're on the
Yeah,
road RVing, they'll
oh yeah,
potentially do an air ambulance
they'll
for you.
come pick you
right.
up,
Yeah,
Mhm.
take you where you gotta go in a hurry.
in a hurry. That's
But
right.
I would imagine most ambulance services are contract services with hospitals, and they bid, and it's very price competitive. And if you
Yes and
wanted
no.
I
to,
don't know. I don't think that's true.
No, because when you come
No,
when you receive your bill from the insurance company, a lot of
it's
times they'll say,
outrageous
oh yeah, they probably contract with it. Well, yeah. I mean, if you
because
call
of the
911, how do they
40, 50
know which
grand.
ambulance company to send you?
yeah,
Yeah,
who's ever
How does
closest,
that
I
work?
think sometimes. It
I don't
depends on
know.
the
Yeah.
dispatcher. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know.
I mean,
I do know.
if I had an ambulance company and I needed to differentiate, one way that I would do it, I mean, as a angle on faster is to point out that you maintain you maintain locations
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
around the metro area. Like
Right.
right.
you're right, you make it your business to be the closest ambulance to cut down on those and save those precious few seconds that can make all the difference.
And if necessary, you subcontract with that contractor who
Yeah.
will use the private plane as an
Yeah.
ambulance. So
And then I saw something years ago that was sort of floating around at the time, and do you guys know who Perry Marshall is?
I do.
definitely.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, Perry Marshall is a marketing consultant, sort of marketing guru. And there was one sort of line of business they were looking at one point where you make an over the top guarantee and you take out insurance with an insurance company
Yeah.
in case, or you just factor it in and have enough cash reserves. So if you are not able to fulfill, then you just understand that some percentage, very likely less than 1%,
Mhm.
of cases, you would have to pay the entire thing. The way I was talking about for the bathroom sort of remodel thing with the
Mhm.
contractor and the private plane, that you have to do it very rarely, but it's such an over the top guarantee that you get past the safety and regret issues and instant objections by talking about we're super successful because we absolutely backstop you the whole way.
I'm always intrigued by the ones where they have, they used to always, 14-day guarantee, 30-day guarantee.
Yeah.
Then you see some 90s popping up. And then you've got these 365-day guarantees,
Mm.
which is like you're selling a course or a program or something and you're offering a year guarantee. That takes a lot of cojones.
It does, but a lot of the time, how those are structured is that if you don't achieve certain results,
Right.
we
Yeah.
won't we won't charge you to intervene and help you achieve the results.
And if you don't follow the step-by-step
Right,
methodology,
and then you
you
put
have
a
to
lot of
show your
guardrails
work
around
over
it.
time.
You step off that path, and sorry, we don't owe you any money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're toast.
And a lot of customers will sort of, as they're walking through the process of, maybe I should get a refund for this, they'll self-terminate because they say, oh, well, I didn't actually do that. So I'd be embarrassed, the fact. So they just, don't do it anyway. Yeah, there are often really solid business reasons to offer an over-the-top guarantee.
Well, would you consider that to be a differentiating factor in your business? If we're the guys with the 5-year guarantee or something like that.
Yeah. Right. And you know that that's going to cost you something. And even
Mhm.
as a customer, you know that these guys are a little more expensive. But then it becomes, then it becomes a kind of insurance, right? And if you think about
Yeah.
what insurance is, the best definition I ever heard of insurance is a guaranteed small financial loss now against the chance of a gigantic financial loss later. I mean, we have life insurance. Every month that you're still alive after you've paid your life insurance premium, technically you wasted your money.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm my own liability.
Yeah. But if you, you're the one costing you by continuing to breathe, you're
I
costing
cost
yourself money
myself
as
money.
far as the life insurance company is concerned. But the whole point is that eventually you will not continue to breathe, and there will be, X, or car insurance is probably even a better example of that,
Mhm.
right? Because you literally have no control. You probably have more control over when you die from a life insurance point of view than you do in being a car accident from a car insurance
Well,
point.
yeah. I mean, I've been in 8 car accidents. 6
Yeah.
of them, I've been sitting at a light, standing still.
Yeah, you should stop going to that intersection.
Well, no, mostly in DC.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Insurance is just a small financial loss that's guaranteed instead of a large financial loss that you would have to cover.
Yeah.
And an over-the-top guarantee as a prospect, as a customer, is basically the same thing. I know I'm paying it, like 5 or 15% or 18% more than the cheapest guy who gave me a quote on this, but I'm fully backstopped. And the other guy, I'm literally I wouldn't hear from him again, even if I went to his house and said, guys, your stuff came apart and you need to make this right. You're never going to hear from them again.
One differentiating factor in car insurance, I remember too, this was intriguing to me several years ago when a couple of companies were offering car replacement insurance.
Yeah.
In the event of your car being totaled in an accident, which is you get that at a premium, but I'll tell you, that would give me a greater sense of security to know that if my car is totaled, they're not just going to give me, the $4,000 that it's still worth. They're going to replace the car entirely.
Yeah, but they're going to replace the car not with a brand new car, but with the same
comparable
year.
Yeah.
Right. And what actually makes that part of the industry possible is the popularity of leasing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you lease a car, you're essentially or when a car company leases a car to you, they're manufacturing a used car.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to take the depreciation while that car drops in value, because every day that someone's using it is dropping in value. And then at the end of it, they have a 2 or 3 year old car. And so any insurance company that's offering guarantees, oh yeah, we're gonna, you bought a 2018 Lexus X whatever, then here's another 2018 Lexus X whatever, and someone else had already leased it, and all the depreciation is done. So it's like that's sort of like adjacent industries that make other business opportunities possible. It's really smart. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking it down. I think it's brilliant, but leasing makes that popular. And actually, the more expensive a car is, the more the greater the likelihood that it's leased. Like 70+% of every BMW in America is leased. And I'm sure the percentage is comparable or higher for Mercedes and Lexus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 75% recently. They talked about 75% for BMWs. It's like you think people are owning these. They're not owning them at all. Because I always wondered, how are all these people affording all these vehicles? And then you recognize that they're long-term rentals. So.
Yep. And again, I've never leased a car, but I don't have a problem with anyone leasing a car. Lease whatever car you want. It's great. Right? It's the same as anything else. It's the same way that everyone else treats their own money. They spend it first on the things that they absolutely have to spend it on, and they spend the rest of it on whatever they value. And we all value different things.
Yeah, it's the least you can do.
Yeah, it's the same template, but just different, different outlets for every single person. I do not own a lot of pairs of shoes, but I own really good computer equipment. So I valued that. So that's where my money went. It's just the way it goes. It's not better than having shoes. It's just, someone else values shoes and I value techie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Same template, essentials, and then whatever someone values. But we're hopping all over the place today.
I value time.
Sorry.
Time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure everyone watching this values time, so we should probably wrap up.
Wrap it up.
Let's do it.
All right. So that's it for Better, Cheaper, Faster, Sell Any 2. I think the main takeaway, which I get to claim today, I don't always have the best point, but I think today I did, is that all 3 of those is essentially a flavor of showing that you have an angle, that there's something different about what you're selling or offering that you then present as either better, cheaper, or faster, as a way to be unique and be remembered in a prospect's mind. And I think that's about it. Do go ahead and go to thisaudiencemeansbusiness.com and subscribe so you can get way more information and links to previous videos and stuff. We send out something usually once or twice a month, no more than that. That makes it easy to keep up. So you can't watch these things every day. No one's going to watch all these things every day.
I don't even watch them. I'm half asleep during these
Yeah.
things.
You don't even talk until we're 7 or 8 minutes in.
Not today. Not much.
A little bit.
Love it.
All right, that's it for me. Thank you, everyone. I
Ciao,
always
ciao.
have to look away because I got to click the end stream button. So I'm not ignoring you. It's